Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Western Oklahoma Sports Podcast, powered by Wright Media and 97.3 The Score. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog, here with you for our weekly rendezvous here on the airwaves. And I tell you, John Matthews, my co-host, here with me today. And John, you're from the DFW area, and I know that you were probably up late last night. Well, not too late. Seemed like that game went pretty quick, but it's got to be a special feeling to know that your Texas Rangers, and I'll claim them today too, got the special hat on, are now World Series champs, erasing, as in the words of Eric Nadel and Matt Hicks, erasing the ghosts of 2011. John Matthews, what do you think about your team getting it done?
Man, we were so excited last night. It's kind of hard because as a fan of Texas Rangers my whole life, man, let's win it right now. Let's get it, especially after 2011. But as for personal reasons and maybe trying to find some tickets, Game 6 would have been really cool to go watch.
Well, you went to Game 2 and they lost. So
I know. I'm bad luck. I'm bad luck. But getting no hit through 6 innings, and you're kind of like, okay, 1 run may do it, and then they just kind of blow it open, especially with the air in center field. And I called my mom, who she was actually at the stadium at the Globe Life Field watching it live, or watching with her 20,000 closest friends, and the place just went nuts. I'm on the phone with her trying to talk to her, and all you hear is screaming and shouting and fireworks going off, and it was a really cool feeling. I remember being at the old ballpark, not the 2 ballparks ago, watching Nolan Ryan as a kid, where you could bring, $5 to get in, bring your own cooler, bring your own hot dogs. And it's just, I was never more disappointed than I was in 2010, 2011, and so excited now.
Well, as a special treat to you, John, I'm going to bring on a good friend of mine who I used to have on as a regular guest when I worked in Seymour, Texas, and we did Lawdog Sports down there. But he is John Moore. He's from the Texas Rangers Baseball Podcast. And I tell you, I stumbled upon John Moore probably back in 2018. And John is just, I mean, if it's Rangers and it's something going on there or some sort of analysis you need, he is the guy. And you can catch them also on Facebook and Twitter, Texas Rangers Baseball Podcast. He is on Twitter as the Recliner Nerd. John Moore, good to see you again. And under these circumstances, how amazing that these Texas Rangers are 2023 World Series champions.
What are you talking about? I was watching a Golden Girls.
You're watching Golden Casper.
I didn't even know it was still going. I'm sorry. No, it's been incredible. Obviously, like John said, I mean, first of all, getting a chance to cover the team now with Jeff. I'm actually we're at Rangers Today Baseball Podcast now.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I joined Jeff a couple of years ago. Jeff Wilson, who writes for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Yeah. When he got let go there, he started RangersToday.com. We started the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. I'm credentialed. I mean, like John said, I said the same thing. Jeff was in Arizona. I've been to, the 2 home World Series games. I was there for when they beat the Orioles. I was actually in the locker room with the beer spraying and all of that, and having fun. So while it would have been amazing to be able to go on the field and to get in there for the champagne spray and all of that, I texted Jeff before the game and said, my heart can't take it. Just go ahead and bring it home, and I'll be at the parade. So we get to be a part. We get to meet with the players for about an hour before the parade and do all kinds of interviews and do that. And then we'll be by the stage, I guess, when they do the thing at the end. But I was fine. I was ready to get it over with. And it was a long time. I will not confirm or deny whether tears were rolling down my face, but
you and a lot of others last night, buddy.
Yeah, I went to my first game in 1974. So when I was 7 years old. So this is a long time coming.
Yeah. John Matthews, I tell you, when I came across John Moore and he was doing a podcast with a different organization back then, we were a Rangers affiliate at KSEY in Seymour, and I said, man, this guy knows his stuff. We're going to get him on here. So in the analytical questions, John, that we'll just dive into, John Moore, Bruce Bochy's effect in season one on this Rangers team. It just can't be understated.
No, it can't. And, I never blamed Chris Woodward and said all along he just didn't have the talent or that there. But the difference between Woodward and Bochy and handling a bullpen has been amazing. I know we've all many times said, why are you bringing in this guy or why are you bringing in that guy? But he is, I tell you what he is, and every player has told me this, it's the calming presence that he has. He never gets flustered. You go to one of the toughest losses when they lost game 5 against Houston, and they were going to have to go back to Houston, and they lost that game. He acted like, look, this happens. We got to go down there and win too. He wasn't, Torey Lovello was pretty emotional after game 1 when they gave up the Corey Seager home run and then the walk-off, and you could tell he was a little shook. One of the nicest guys. I was in there for that press conference. He was just amazing. Didn't complain about anything except that, people asked him, should you have walked Corey Seager there? And he said, hey, it's real easy to play Monday morning quarterback after the fact, and I probably will. He goes, but I had my closer in the game. We're trying to close out a game. I mean, I don't know if I would do it different, knowing the results or whatever. I can't say that, but sure, I'll probably think about it. And I take my hat off to that and go, that's a guy being totally honest and not going, no way, I never try to walk him. I try to get he was just being real. And I really appreciated that.
John, what did you think last night when you saw Chapman coming in the 7th? He gives me lots of mixed emotions at times. I don't know how I feel. I have lots of text messaging groups that go, oh, no Chapman, and then yay Chapman.
So I was like you. I mean, Chapman is you don't know what Chapman's going to do until he throws the first pitch. And it depends on how bad out of the zone it is, whether you don't know what you're going to face. Now, but I did text Jeff to say, is anybody warming? Tell me Leclerc's up at least. And he did, or Spores, and he told me, yeah, Spores is warming. And I was like, okay, so he's not going to be, if he can get an out or whatever, they're going to get him out of there if they need to. And of course, Spores was just amazing with what he's done. Hey, I called for Spores to be released. I used to make fun of him earlier in the year. I called it the DFA, he was playing the DFA Minecraft game where he somehow DFA Tetris. He kept avoiding being DFA'd somehow, but they saw something in him, and look what he's turned into once he's fully healthy and he's got that slider going. Man, that's one of I look back now and thank God I'm not running an organization. I would have DFA'd him.
Well, and you mentioned, Spores coming in, but I mean, Nathan Eovaldi, that quality start that they got from him and to go as long as he did and get out of jams. I mean, yeah, the Diamondbacks pitcher had a no-no going through 6, but I mean, with those no-nos in a nothing game, I think the pressure's more on that guy than there is on the other team, but that's what I think.
Oh, Valdi had runners in the corners every inning. I mean, you kidding me? 5 walks, he walked 5 people, and don't get me wrong. Super proud of the defense behind him, but it was a nerve-wracking 6 innings.
Yeah, he's strange. He didn't. That was probably one of his worst games he's pitched. But man, he is a different player with guys on base. He's just a different pitcher. He attacks more. He moves that ball around. He's gotten himself out of so many jams this year. But the big thing was who was going to score first, because every team that had scored first had won every game in this series.
Wow. That's amazing.
And so I thought for sure there were at least where they were 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. The Diamondbacks were when he got out of that last jam and they were 0 for 9. I that was the part right there when I said, oh my gosh, this may not be their night. Yeah. I mean, this may not be setting up for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned their manager at Arizona. I thought he was a class act. I came to like him. Hadn't really watched any Diamondbacks through the season, but during the series, definitely a quality manager. They'll be, I mean, and that brings me to my next question. These two teams that played in the World Series, we saw the Houston Astros with a window once their young talent started to develop, once they started to get some experience, got past that hump, maybe by means not very legitimate, but whatever the case, I'm a fan of these teams doing what's necessary, and obviously Chris Young has got a pulse on what's going on. But man, I also love these old school managers coming in and managing these teams. And what's the window for this Texas Rangers team going forward?
Pretty good, to tell you the truth, because they did it right. Hey, by the way, if you're not giving John Daniels any credit, you're just being awesome.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I had my issues with JD, but you're exactly right. We used to talk about that constantly.
His name come up. I mean, every interview last night.
Did it?
Yeah. Well, he started this. He was the one that started the rebuild in 17. I think they kind of went for it a little bit in 20. They were opening the stadium, and they went out and did the trade for Corey Kluber, and thought this was a chance that they could. They thought the rotation at the beginning of the year was going to be pretty good. And then COVID hit. Nobody got to warm up like they wanted to. Nobody got to go through spring training like they were supposed to. All of that happens. Kind of ruined it all. But JD was the one that started building the farm system back up, and you need that. So both the Diamondbacks and the Rangers have a deep farm system. In fact, the Diamondbacks have the number one prospect in baseball, and will probably, and that's what's his name, Jackson Holiday, who will probably be up, and then Rangers number 2 in Wyatt Langford, who's going to be there pretty quick too. But they've got deep systems. And you need a deep system. You can, once you get your farm system in place, then you go spend your money on your free agents and you build your team there. But when you've got the farm system that's got talent, you got two things. You got depth in case there's injuries. Look what Evan Carter did this year. Look what, bringing up some of the rookies. JP Martinez came up for a little bit and did some stuff. You had some depth to fill in. Ezekiel Duran, those guys that kind of came up and filled in and did their job. But then at the trade deadline, you've also got the attractive prospects, and that's your other currency. And when you needed to go get another starting pitcher and some bullpen help, that's what you went and did. And then again, Austin Hedges, sorry. Austin Hedges just what a move that was right there. That at the time Heim was still hurt, didn't know exactly when he was going to come back, and they go get the best framer in baseball. He wasn't going to hit. We all knew that, but he came in here, and then they didn't. We thought for sure he'd get DFA'd after Heim came back, and they kept him and kept a three-man. Three catchers roster. And Austin Hedges was the spark plug of this team and never hit the field.
We're visiting with John Moore tell me that name again one more time, John. This
is important. Right. Go ahead, say it, John Moore.
Texas.
Hedges. Yeah.
Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. Is that what you mean?
Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. Let me write that.
Oh, no. We need to talk about Austin Hedges for a second. Has anybody seen his I guess supposed attire that he went on? I wish I knew what show he was on, claiming when the Texas Rangers win the World Series, what he's going to be wearing to the parade tomorrow.
No, what was it?
It's chaps without a backside. I think there's a word for that, and a cowboy hat is his plan. You Google it, you'll find it. I wish I knew what podcast he was on. John, did you see that?
I've heard about it. I will tell you this. I imagine the Texas Rangers will not allow the assless chaps. That will be have y'all heard the story about his butt and what numbers on the butt or whatever?
No. John.
Okay, so when Bruce Bochy, when they won against the Orioles, or whatever it was, it might have been the Orioles or anyway, Bochy came in and did his first little bit, and he always says something before they spray him down. And he says, "Where's Hedgie? What's the number on your butt?" Well, Hedges, Jeff wrote a story today. My partner, Jeff Wilson, wrote a story today about what's the deal with Hedges' butt. So apparently what he would do, they have a hitters and pitchers meeting and all of that before games. And Hedges was coming in and he was doing a countdown on he would wear just his jock strap and he would do a countdown on his butt and he would write whatever number they needed to win. And that's what he was doing. And that's why Bochy made that comment about what's the number on Hedges' butt. And so that was pretty funny. But Hedges is, man, that guy, just fun to talk to also. He just unbelievable. This is a guy that didn't even play and he kept getting on the MLB network. I think his future is going to be in a booth somewhere.
visiting John Moore of the Rangers Today Baseball podcast, an expert Texas Rangers analyst that I call. And John Matthews, I think you were about to roll out a question here on the Western.
Yeah, I mean, everybody talks about the end of the season and the chance to win the division there, and you could argue it was all in the Rangers' hands, and it didn't work. Couldn't win on the road, and then all of a sudden they go from that to winning every single road game possible in the playoffs, all the way to the World Series.
Yeah, somebody said they're losers and they're done back about that time. I
was so angry. I was so mad.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking a question. No,
what's different, I guess? What changed? What all of a sudden made them a better road team and just playoff baseball?
From everything that I've heard, it was the flight from Seattle to Tampa. On the plane, all of a sudden they just stepped back and started playing cards, and they started thinking about it and basically told themselves, okay, this is real now. Now it's the playoffs. We're here. We messed this up, and you got to remember they lost that last game 1-0. They just walked into the best pitcher in the league. And Seattle, unlike Arizona, Seattle did what you're supposed to do. It's kind of an unwritten rule that if there are playoff implications, you should run out a good team, even if your team's eliminated. And they put their best pitcher, who is their ace, they let him go to the mound on that last game on Sunday afternoon. They let him go to the mound, and he shut down the Rangers for 6-7 innings, whatever he did, and the Rangers ended up losing 1-0. And then what did Arizona do? Arizona ran out basically a double-A squad to play the Astros on the last day, and a lot of people were semi-ticked at that. But you know what? The Rangers had a chance. They didn't win it. Seattle put out a team because they kind of do the way you're supposed to, unwritten, where there's playoff implications. We're not just gonna just roll over. I imagine now they weren't going to stretch him. They were only going to let him go so far, but he pitched great and ended up going, I think, 5 or 6 innings, whatever it was. Maybe so, I can't remember exactly, but and on that flight, they were disappointed, got on the flight, and then all of a sudden someone broke out the cards. They started playing cards, and they started thinking about it, and they progressed on this. I mean, they ran through Tampa. I mean, I thought they would lose in Tampa.
Yeah.
And they ran through the Rays. And when that happened, you thought, wow, okay, I'm starting to see something. And then when they went and took care of the Orioles in Baltimore and got a game back to Texas for a home game, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, just a tremendous run, and so do. And I think I posted last night on the Lawdog Sports page on Facebook about my history with the Rangers. I was always an Astros fan, and then when they were in different leagues, and I spent a summer with my brother who had cable, and back then it was Prime Networks. That '89 season, they were on the air, and it was Franco and Sierra and Palmeiro and Nolan Ryan. It was just a great, and that really became my affinity for the Rangers. And then also Oklahoma City, where I was a police officer for so long, was the AAA affiliate forever when they were
the Red Hawks.
Yeah, and then they became the Red Hawks, but they were I don't think they stayed with the Rangers very long once they moved down to Bricktown and became the Red Hawks. But the 89ers were just a staple for minor league baseball in the Rangers system. But I got to say, John, following you on social media, how punchable is Jeff Passan's face? Just wondering. It seems extremely punchable. I don't know.
So I met him for the first time down on the sideline there. I mean, he's he made no qualms about it. He didn't care who won. He was going to root for whoever won game one, because he's been on the road apparently for about 2 months.
Yeah.
And then he's got to go to the baseball winter meetings. But, he
bless his rich little heart.
Yeah. He seems like a pretty good guy. The guy that drives me crazy, so Sherman. I think that's the one. Is that the guy that had really almost lost his mind because DeGrom signed with the Rangers?
Oh,
John Hay.
Yeah.
He lost all bodily functions and couldn't understand, and you're going to go to a team that'll never win, and and the Mets ended up trading away.
Man, I had a good time on Twitter last night with the Mets fans. Somebody, I think it was Talking Baseball on Twitter, shared the DeGrom press conference from last year when he signed with the Rangers, and all the Mets fans and their comments about going to a worse team and stuff. Oh, it's just beautiful.
Right.
So exit question, John, and we'll get you out of here. But just the way you've covered the Rangers during this time that I've known you, and I know you go back a lot ways further than that. I mean, I'm not saying you'll order a ring, but I mean, you got to feel like you're quite a bit a part of this.
Well, look, I got my first credential in 19, and that's when you and I first started. Yeah. That was my first credential, and it was just a daily credential. It wasn't anything big, but these last 2.5, 3 seasons, I've had a full season credential. I would have gotten credentials on the road if I traveled. But being in there, being a part of the room, getting to know the players and meet them, it's personal for me. But some of these guys, though, have covered them. Evan Grant's been there for 26 years. Jeff's been there since 2008, covering them. You realize how close these people get to these guys. I'm close with some of the players. The closest one, I made a comment about it. There's one player on the team that if I ran into him at a restaurant would probably invite me and my family to sit down and eat with him, and that's Travis Jankowski. And he's just become a buddy. I mean, he's just cool. really super nice guy. So excited for him to get in and play these last 2 games and all of that. Him and his wife have 4 beautiful kids. They've adopted one. Just met them after they beat the Orioles. I was down on the field, and after the family run around, I was taking photos of their family together, and their little adopted boy was high-fiving me. He's just really cute, and all of that. And they just had a baby, and all of that. But Travis, all of these guys, that room is crazy. Even Corey Seager was getting, he's always so reserved, but he was getting friendly, and talking and doing all of that. And so it's just, I don't know. Ordering a ring, I don't know, but I'm probably a little too humble for that. I'm kind of like Seager, and I don't want to talk about myself too much. So getting the ring, but hey, if they offered me one, I would not turn it down. But I'm not a member of the organization, so I don't expect them to approach me on it.
Let me tell you something. If the Weatherford Eagles win Class 4A basketball this year, I'm getting a ring. I've gone my whole life without a championship ring. I'm getting one.
Anyway, there you go.
All right. JMatt, you got anything for John Moore before we cut
him? No. I thought it was cool that I don't know if you saw this too, John. The Mavericks at the end of their game, they switched it over to the end of the Rangers game, and they let the fans stay and watch. And I thought that was a pretty cool for Mark Cuban and those guys. And a shout out to all DFW. It was fun. John, is it weird at all? Now, I said I didn't have anything, and my head went this way. Is it weird at all? Beltray, Young, Andrus. It just seemed like there was just a legacy the last 10, 15, 5 years ago, and then kind of a whole new roster, I guess, if you will. Does that feel a little different, or whatever it takes to win a ring?
Yeah, so I think every team goes through that. Look, I tweeted out earlier, the big thanks to that entire 2010, 2011 group of guys who made us think it's possible to win a World Series. You go back to the 90s when they went on their runs in the 90s and they would make the playoffs and lose in the first round. Look, I've been following this team since 74. Those teams of the 90s set it up to where we thought, wow, there's a chance these guys can make the playoffs now. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, because they didn't make the playoffs until 1994. So, and then after that, you got 2010, 11. Those guys set it up that maybe we can win the World Series. These guys did it. But, man, that foundation was laid in the 90s, and it gave Ranger fans a little hope each year as it goes on. And now, let's be honest, every team goes to spring training. They all, no matter whether you finish last or you finish first, you go in kind of with that, hey, we're going to be good. We expect to be good. And, half of it's kind of roll your eyes at. This year, the Texas Rangers will go to spring training and go, we expect to be playing for a World Series. They're going to mean it because they just did. And there's not a lot falling off. So,
that's what I was talking about.
But it's fun. Hey, John, are you going to be out there tomorrow?
No. I thought about my assless chat. No, in fact, it's funny. My brother-in-law texted me. My mom has texted me. They all want to drive up, but I promised my kids we were staying home this weekend unless we went to the game. God, I want to go though.
Take them down there, John.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad idea.
On the road. You're on the road every weekend. Just go. John Moore from the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast, and my good friend, and has helped me out a lot of the way trying to do some sort of radio or podcast and give it some legitimacy. You are the cream of the crop, my friend, and it's great to catch up with you.
Thanks, Chuck. It's been good. Great to hear from you. Yeah, anytime. Just give me a heads up. I'd love to jump on
They give you a hot stove call.
uh,
Take care. John Moore from the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. And I tell you, John Matthews, juggling two Johns is got a little difficult for me there for a second, but it's
you did good.
Yeah, so thank you. But no, congratulations to the Texas Rangers. Just an amazing run and an amazing way to finish out the season. Just really dominant. I mean, you win all those games on the road. You're kind of pulling the team's heart out, showing it to them while it's still beating. Sorry for the violent imagery, but that's just that's just such a disheartening way to lose a series. And they did it to Houston, and then they did it to Arizona. And I remember back to the belly aching, I think after the Dodgers fell out, the Braves fell out, all their fans went to social media belly aching that, these series don't really determine, it shouldn't be, wild card, blah, blah. Go win the series. You get multiple chances to win it. And if you can't, then you're not the champion,
No, you're exactly right. Speaking of champion, what size hat you wear? I have a fitted hat that is too small for my head.
Oh, I think I'm a 7 and 7 3/8 or something like that. I'm a
if
7
it's
and a half.
7.5, I say if you can squeeze into 7 3/8, I got you. It's not a little present from the game.
Okay, well, we might do that. Hey, I tell you, we got a lot more to cover real quick, and not a lot of time to cover it. As just an amazing visit with John Moore. And I tell you, John, football is wrapping up this week, and I tell you, it's a situation where I don't know if they meant to try to get Coach John Higbee over at Clinton to stroke out, but man, to go on the road and fall to cash, the district isn't lost, but they can't mess around with Woodward tomorrow night. 4-1 in district, same record as Elk City, and I know they're going to, they'll go up and take care of business with Woodward, but man, how about you not make it so interesting in the final week?
Yeah, you're right. A game, so I don't know. If anything, you could argue that was a good thing the way it happened, because Clinton's been rolling, they've beaten everybody and all this, and I know Higbee never ever once said that would ever get his players thinking that, but maybe it's a little bit of we don't have to read our own press clippings, and they have a tough practice and kind of give it, because they're beating Woodward. Woodward's a JV team at this point. Yeah. John Marshall beat Woodward, if that says anything. Mm-hmm. So I think that's not necessarily a question, but sometimes a loss kind of right here before the playoffs is a good thing.
Yeah, it probably, in the end, it doesn't hurt anything, but you remember me saying that the percentage chances that District 2 could go 4-0 against District 1 are probably higher than they have been in the past.
Yeah, no, you're still very confident. We know you're a District 2 fan. You'd like Tuttle. I get it.
I despise them. I hate Newcastle. I hate Tuttle. I don't hate Blanchard. Blanchard's been all right to us, and I haven't got to deal with Bethany, but Tuttle and Newcastle, no, not a big fan. We're outside for the playoff game for Weatherford. We're broadcasting outside in the visitor stands.
That's insane too, because that whole stadium, I drove through there. It's a nice facility. It looks like
they have a new press box that they've been building, but apparently it's not prepared for anybody to be in it. And so I reached out to that school's administrator and found out that we will be in the visitor stands. So look for the big coyote tent, because I'm not taking a chance of getting rained on if there's any weather. But yeah, we'll be outside broadcasting from the visitor stands, and which is better, because normally Tuttle will put the visiting broadcasters in the home stands. So, just whatever. But Newcastle did that too. I put this on social media yesterday, John. I did Class A last year, all season, 11 games, and was outside once. And I won't even hack on the group that had us out there, because they really didn't have anything for anybody. But then, 4A, this will be the third time I'll be broadcasting outside. That's just a joke. And Max Patton, voice for Sayre Eagles, called out, that Thomas has just amazing press box plus a visitor's press box. It's like, yeah, they are the true Cadillac of press boxes. So I know it's
but you gotta blame the communities, right? That's where bonds and things have to be passed. And I'm not paying attention to everybody, so I can't.
But it's Tuttle and Newcastle. There's more money flowing through there than anybody could shake a stick at. I've got friends that live in Grady County that tell me what their property taxes are. They can afford it. So
Newcastle Bethany, that's a big game this week, right? That kind of decides.
That will determine who the winner of District 1 gets to face. That's tomorrow night. And then Tuttle and Blanchard pretty much etched out. We know that Weatherford will travel to Tuttle, and we know that I'm going to say probably Cache. That's another district matchup tomorrow night in District 1, Cache and Chickasha. But I would probably favor Cache pretty heavily in that one.
If you're sitting in Elk City right now, who are you rooting for tomorrow night?
They probably want Bethany.
Okay.
I would think if I'm Elk City and I've got to take on the third place team, I don't know that Elk City wants any part of Newcastle, and
Okay.
I say that based on Weatherford playing them, and then also just some of the things that Newcastle's able to do. Now I could be wrong, but I know they won the game. I know they had 5 interceptions, but I just don't think they're better than Weatherford. And people can call me out all they want, and but I didn't see anything from Elk City other than able to exploit a kid in his first start a bit that really made me think that they were just really all that.
No, it makes sense. And I'm just curious. And like I said, in the end, you still got to go play the game. And that's why, like you said,
totally
Weatherford, 5 turnovers and still, still was in the game within.
You had a distance. Pick 6 and 4 other interceptions, and you win by a touchdown. So but it may also be the fact that Weatherford's just an inch here or there close to being a truly a thorough team. It's hard to say, but Blanchard is the real deal in 4A. Wagner, Poto, even Cushing. I've got a cousin that his grandson plays for Cushing. They are solid. So you've got to win that first round matchup somehow, some way, and then figure out where do the chips fall after that.
Question. This is jumping around. I'm jumping out of Class B for just a second, just because I promised a friend I would. Are the Ceiling Wildcats the real deal?
I think they are. And the reason I say that is because they've beaten the best teams in Class B. They've beaten Laverne and OBA, I believe. And so by saying that, their coach, Gary Manuel, who we interviewed back probably after, I think it was after their big win against Laverne. No, not Laverne. We're talking B. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Class B. Yeah. No, you're good. I mean, they haven't played a second half. I mean, I think they had to go into the third quarter like once this season.
So in week 2 and week 3, they faced Laverne and Oklahoma Bible. Both those teams are 8-1. Ceiling beat both of them. But Gary Manuel, the head coach for the Wildcats, said, it was kind of the same thing last year. We lost, of course, I think they lost one and won one last year. And then I think Oklahoma Bible got them back in the semifinals or something. It was something like that. But so, that's the thing about Class B 8-man is you play the regular season, and then by the time the playoffs come, it can be Katie bar the door. But I would say the smart money's on Ceiling going ahead and taking that.
It'll be fun. And then is anybody else looking? I'm trying to think of who's looking to make a deep run. The hitting comments, is that still maybe
man, I don't know.
I know they struggled. It's such a hot start. What happened?
I hate to say that. It's 2 years in a row that I've covered Western Oklahoma football. They've started out like gangbusters, then kind of fell at the end. Western Heights.
Go ahead. I'll let you go.
Western Heights, they lost 42-40 back on October 6th, and then they had the meat of their district schedule, Crescent and Minco, and those are 2 high-quality teams. But the way they went out and played against Cashin, who I think this is the year if people want to get Cashin to do it. But they'll wrap up with Watonga. I think I've got to call head coach Corey Duncan for a pregame interview for him here in just a little bit. But that game is tomorrow night at Watonga, or I'm sorry, at Hinton. So it's senior night for the Comets. And, I hope Coach Grant Potter and the Comets are able to do something. But then also, and that's the thing is they have to, let me see. I think they've got to win over Christian Heritage. So they have to win that game to make the playoffs, because Christian Heritage is 2-3, Hinton's 1-3 in district, and they've got the head-to-head. So they have to beat Watonga tomorrow night to make the playoffs. If they start out 5-0 and miss the playoffs 2 years in a row, I think they were 5-1 last year, but that's tough.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And then on the flip side of that, Thomas Terriers going up to Hooker tomorrow night, and that they win that game, they get to host a playoff game.
Not sure about that.
Why am I wrong?
They lost to Moreland. Let's see. Moreland has.
I've got Hooker in second, right? And then I've got Moreland is four. Well, if Moreland wins too, you're right. Then there would be a three-way tie. And then you're right.
Texoma. I would favor them pretty heavily in that one. And then Hooker, if Hooker were to lose, I guess they could fall to fourth. Thomas would hold on to. Thomas needs to hope for a Texoma upset somehow, some way, because of the fact they're both 4-2, them and Moreland. Get the win versus Hooker. Yeah, if somehow Texoma pulled the upset on Moreland and they were able to beat Hooker, they would be in second place. And then you're talking about, here's the thing, John. I think Boone Apache out of District 2 is really, really good. I'm not really sold on Walters or Mangum or Hobart in 2, 3, and 4 in that district. So Walters is pretty solid, but I don't think that's a team that Thomas couldn't take care of. But Boone Apache, I think, is pretty good.
You're right. Look at the points. It does look like if for some reason Thomas beats Hooker and it's a three-way tie, if Moreland does their thing, then nothing changes. Hooker stays 2, Thomas stays 3, then Moreland stays 4. Yeah, no, you're right. But so basically you just don't want to be 4. That's
yeah. Well, I mean, that's why they play the games. But I know out of District 2, I would probably say Apache, and I always called them Boone Apache when I was on Friday Night Finals, because I think they are a combined school, but they're just Apache on the rankings. And I think they are a very good team. And they take on, actually, they travel to Carnegie tomorrow night. Coach Skylar Watson and Coach, daggone it, was it Watonga last year? Coleman. Was it Weatherford? Was it Watonga last? Daggone it.
What school? I'm sorry. Carnegie?
At Carnegie. Assistant at Carnegie. He was at
Skylar Watson? Oh, assistant.
Yeah, assistant. Cole. Coach Cole. Daggone it. You know who I'm talking about. He was at Watonga last year. He helped us set up the media class. Dang it.
Oh, I cannot help you at all here. I'm so sorry.
All right. So anyways, yeah, football on tap tomorrow night. Also tonight, Corn Bible Academy on a Thursday. They take on Geary in a play, and that's a play-in game for the playoffs, as the winner of that will have a lock on 4th place in District 2. Tough district there. John. Tipton is just so good. They're 9-0. They're ranked number 1. And they're just really good, and they've kind of run roughshod through that district with Mountain View and Mountain View, Godebo, Geary, and Corn Bible. But and I thought to myself, because Corn Bible's hosting Geary, I really thought to myself, maybe I ought to get out and head. I guess they're in Clinton. Is that
Corn Bible? Which one? The Corn Bible Academy? They are in Clinton. Are they at home?
Yeah, they're at home against Geary.
Yeah, I mean that's where their campus is at. But I don't know if they're playing. I don't know enough about their campus. Are they still playing Corn where their football field is, or do they have a football field?
We'll have to check. So, anyways, hey, I'm going to be at the scrimmage today. I believe 4 or 4:30. Weatherford is scrimmaging Westmore in basketball. So go out and see how the Eagles look without CJ. And then also want to give a shout out to Creek Williams, our friend from Weatherford, the rodeo, high school rodeoer. And he won some big money last Sunday in Elk City at a team roping deal. So we mentioned that on the sports. But I tell you, John, it's just one of those situations where things are going on so rampantly around here. It just really is picking up. SWOSU, how about SWOSU volleyball with a chance to they're at Southern Nazarene tonight. I think they can lock up first place.
They can, yeah, no, it's just crazy because they didn't think that was even possible. Like we thought it was another Josh Collins 2nd place finish, which is notorious for. But yeah, no, they can lock it up.
If they That's your words, not mine, Coach.
Whatever. In second, and you look at next Thursday, their last home game. Northwestern's coming, and I'm hoping that game means nothing, and we can just talk so much trash and just roll through them. As that'll be a fun game to go to. Basketball starts too. That's coming up. God, how is this happening so fast?
And we lost to Northwestern at Alvo. That needs to mean something. We need to.
No, it'll get rowdy there I guess, is it called the Pioneer Center now? Is that the new name?
Not Pioneer Cellular anymore.
Yeah, because they no longer offer cellular service. I think it may be.
So no more PCEC.
I think it's just PCE. Wait, Pioneer PEC.
Pioneer PEC, the PEC.
PEC. Yeah, the PEC.
Hey, real quick on volleyball, how valuable was it back on the 17th when they welcomed in West Texas A&M and took them to five matches, 5 sets?
Yeah, I think a couple things there. Of course, it's just confidence-wise, right? So you've got the number 1 team, defending champs. I think they're number 2 or 3 currently in the nation. They won the national championship last year, and you realize that you could compete with them. Like, not only compete with them, you could argue they should have won every set that night. I mean, West Texas A&M had to come from behind most of those matches, and they were in them. And I think, if anything, it's that confidence of, hey, we are a good volleyball team. Like this, we can beat anybody. We can hang with anybody if we just listen to the coaching and we believe in ourselves and swing hard and be smart. And I know that was huge, even though it was so disappointing losing in that 5th set. I think you came out of that with like, hey, we are one of the top teams in the country when we play like it.
Yeah. SWOSU soccer is kind of picking up steam as they got a 1-0 win at Oklahoma Baptist yesterday, and OBU's second in the GAC standings. And they traveled to Bethany on Saturday to take on Southern Nazarene. They come away with that one, and they bumped themselves up into 3rd place. Actually, yeah, they would be tied with OBU. And well, I'm not sure who. The point system always kind of gets me, because you always say, oh well, they'll tie them, but OBU's got Northwestern on Saturday, so that could win. But SWOSU definitely clinched the playoffs, and then they can improve their seeding with a win over Southern Nazarene on Saturday in Bethany at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I think I wrote them off a little early. I think that was kind of my fault in the fact that they played a lot of tough teams at the beginning, a lot of tough non-conference games. And I think it just kind of, what's happening? Scoring goals was very challenging, and this offense just didn't ever seem to produce. And defense, they weren't giving up a ton, but all of a sudden, you're right. I mean, you just got to get in, and they've locked that in, and really conference-wise, everyone's been beating up on each other. Nobody just completely run away with it. I mean, Ouachita Baptist has only 2 losses, right? And Oakland Baptist only 3. Heck, Southwestern only got 4. I mean, so they're all kind of right there with it.
Well, and reigning GAC Defensive Player or Goalkeeper of the Week, Amanda Forsling, she had her 2nd straight shutout yesterday against OBU. So I tell you, in soccer, it's an interesting game, and I know a lot of Americans don't like soccer, but I always do. It's the strategy, it's the defense, and it's the counterattacks, and it's a lot of fun if you kind of follow that part of it. But you get a good back end, and if your back end, your defense and goalkeeper and your defensive midfielders really start kind of locking things down, you can do so much more. And I tell you, some foreign effect here. Philippine DeSancy, and she scored on a set piece yesterday, which is basically a free kick. And if she can bend it like Beckham, I like this team. I like the way this team run. So anyway.
I was gonna say, soccer's taking off. I mean, come on, with Ted Lasso and that Wrexham show or whatever on FX, people are getting popular. Plus, Messi, the world's greatest player, playing for an actual MLS team in Miami. I think soccer's getting a little bit. It's on the rise in America.
Oh yeah, it's been on the rise my whole life. So we'll see.
That's so true. That's so true.
But no, big game Saturday at Southern Nazarene, and then the GAC tournament will be next week beginning on a Thursday, and they still don't have a determined location for that. I'm assuming if Ouachita Baptist wins the conference, they would probably go there. I'm assuming. I don't know.
Yeah, that's how it normally works. The home team, the conference winner hosts. But so we're all rooting for Oklahoma Baptist now. Is that?
I think so.
Did we mess up by beating them?
No. I mean, well, let's see. Yeah, I think the standings were they're 2 points behind. So what we need to do, John, is we need to root for East Central to beat.
Go Tigers!
Nope, sorry, that one's already over. Ouachita's season is regular season is over. They beat East Central. My bad, looking at the date wrong. So, anyways, hey, real quick, SWOSU Bulldog football. Man, tough.
Oh, no, we have to.
Senior day.
I was telling this morning, we made jokes. Just everybody needs to show up to the game and give them hugs. It's been a long season. It's rough. Nothing's gone well. I think at one point there was a team meeting that says, "Hey, has anybody ever played quarterback before?" Aww. Okay, you can start. It's just been one of those kind of seasons where everything was going to be a struggle to begin with.
Yeah.
But then when injuries start occurring, which happens in football all the time, it makes it that much harder. And you feel bad for Coach McCoy. You feel bad for the staff. You feel bad for the players. But at this point, you're playing for pride. It's senior night. Some of these kids are never going to play football again the rest of their life. This is their final moment. And so you got to respect them for suiting up and getting out there and giving it all they had to SWOSU football.
Can we get one? Can we get one on the 11th against that team up north?
I mean, I hope so.
Mhm.
It's not like they're, you know what I mean? I don't know.
It's bad.
It's hard. It's so hard, Chuck. I mean, they're just Northwestern's a good football team, right? They kind of have been, but they've been down the last. What didn't we beat them last year?
Yes.
And so, I mean, you could argue. I don't know how they're doing this year. I haven't even looked.
I think
Is it? Oh, it's a battle at the bottom. Hey, Chuck!
Yeah, both.
It's the toilet bowl.
Play. Both.
It's the toilet bowl.
It's the toilet bowl, and that's not indicative. That's not an indictment on the town of Alva. So,
no. It's at home. Yeah. What? Come on. Hey, you just gave me a whole new excitement for this game that I didn't even think I realized.
Now, maybe SWOSU rolls up there with a 1-9 record. That could always happen.
Yeah, that would be. Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm assuming I jumped ahead, didn't I?
Yeah. Southern Arkansas, the Mule Riders coming to Alva Saturday. So, anyways, hey, we need to get out of here, bud. But it sure is a lot of fun, and hope you enjoyed my little gift to you of an actual Rangers analyst to break down the World Series championship.
That was cool, John Moore. Big thank you to him and his text. Was it Rangers podcast? Rangers
is the Rangers Today baseball podcast, which apparently group. I'll send you the link if you want to join it. He does have great content, and I
love it.
He has upgraded that podcast so much from where it began. It used to be part of Dallas Sports Nation, I believe, and he did a great job. And the essence of a podcast is you got to have somebody that knows what they talk about, which kind of eludes us, but anyways, he just did such a great job with it. And then as he just kind of ingratiated himself with the Rangers and some of their former players and stuff, it just really took off, and he's doing a great job with that. And he was always super to come on with me when I was doing Lawdog Sports in Seymour, Texas. And like I said, when you get someone like that who can talk and not sound like just some super fan or some just somebody babbling like I do, it really lends a lot of legitimacy to your show.
Oh no, he was amazing. I mean, like you said, the fact that he's turned the podcast into a fully credentialed media member, which is not easy to do unless you are a coach on the Michigan staff. It's to get into locker rooms, get in the sidelines, and
apparently
dugout.
And Chippewas are pretty easy to infiltrate.
Yeah. I love the video, by the way, of him when he's trying to hide when the ball comes on the sideline. Have you seen that? When he's hiding, he's keeping his hat down, trying to hide behind behind one of the coaches because he knows the camera's coming on the sideline.
Yeah.
Anyways, John Moore is great in the Rangers. I'm so happy for my mom, so happy for the Texas Rangers faithful, even all the new bandwagon fans. Welcome. I don't care. Like it's awesome, and I really think they do it again next year, like very easily. And by easily I mean 160, 180 something games.
Yeah. Hey, where's the smart money going on Bedlam this week?
Oh, I don't know if there is smart money to put on that game. You want to have some fun, put something on OSU money line. I think that's what you kind of play around with. But you got to think OU's not going to get out and lay a dud. I mean, it's such a rivalry. Why, if they would have beaten Kansas, this would have been so much more like,
oh yeah.
Now they're playing for a lot of pride, and there's still a chance that OSU could be in the Big 12 championship game, right? They win.
Oh, big time. Yeah, the way they're playing, and if they take care of business against, so you're let's see, I see OU's minus 231 on the money line. Is that where you're going with that?
No. What's OSU on the money line? Where are they plus what?
Let me see. Why aren't they showing me OSU here?
I got you. Let's see. Plus 180. I got Oklahoma State at plus 180. But you can take the 6 points or OU minus 6. You can get them too.
Fox bet 188. Like that, but any better?
You never bet against a home dog. That's the general rule of betting, right?
Sure. I don't know. I don't bet.
That's it. The general betting is never bet against a home dog. So,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I mean, the Sooners have had Oklahoma State's number for so many years. And is this the last one ever?
It's not like it was when I was a kid where it was just a written. I mean, these OU teams, when they play OSU, they have to go perform. It's not just roll out and beat them. I mean, I know the win-loss total for Mike Gundy is not good, but, I mean, he could make a lot of that go away with a big win Saturday.
Agreed. No, completely agree. Bigger question. Sunday, Cowboys have a chance versus the Eagles?
No. And I hate to agree with the pencil neck guy that's on from 11 to noon on 97.3 The Score out in L.A., basically an ambassador for the L.A. Chamber of Commerce. But he kind of called it, said every 3 weeks Dallas lays an egg, and that's where it falls on this week.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago it was San Francisco. I mean, they're blowing out the bad teams, and that's always good, right?
Yeah, no, I can't argue.
But I mean,
I'm just gonna hope
they surprise me. I mean, here's the thing: Philadelphia, even have a great record. They haven't looked quite as dominant the last couple of weeks, and
they haven't really looked quite as dominant the whole season. They just keep winning.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the combination that, like I said, if Dak, and I think they broke it down, he plays well with the lead. He plays well with a run game. If they can slow down Philadelphia slow down the Philadelphia offense, that's really kind of the only way they can get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
no, I agree. I mean, like I said, I'm just wishful thinking. I've learned over the last 100 years, I just happy when they win. And I don't like to get too confident and say they're going to win, because that usually never happens.
Since you brought it up, let's go ahead and mention that we will have an NFL triple header Sunday beginning at 11:30 on 97.3 The Score. And then also the Dallas Cowboys game will be heard on News Talk KCLI 99.3 FM and KCLIFM.com. And then tomorrow night, Weatherford's on a bye, so there'll be no game on Weatherford Eagles TV, but Clinton will be at Woodward taking on the Boomers. That will be on 97.3 The Score, pregame beginning at 6:30. And also,
I didn't think you did JV games. Oh, okay. All right.
I should have had Guyman come and play Woodward. But anyways, so that will be streaming on Red Tornado TV. Sarah Eagles host Burns Flatdale City for their senior night. Max Patton and Dakota Gloria will be on the call for that. And then also that's on Sarah Eagles TV. Thomas Terriers, they are on the road to Hooker. Mike McGuire will be on the call for that on Terrier TV and also News Talk KCI. And then the big one, John, I guess one of the big ones, Watonga, as they travel to Hinton to take on the Comets, and Coach Corey Duncan, who I got a call as soon as we get off of here, looking for his first win as he was named the interim coach early in the season. So just a lot of football, and we're going to have it all covered for you. Plus, we'll have all your scores and everything at 7:50 on Saturday morning on 95.5 The Coyote. So exit question, John, what do we have on tap for tomorrow morning on the Coyote?
Tomorrow morning on the new Van and John show, we got more tickets for JC Cowboys. We've got a couple guys, 2 headliners going to be there Saturday night. We also are going to start, speaking of Cowboys, they've got that SWOSU Rodeo Legacy benefit coming up next Saturday.
Yeah.
That we'll have some tickets for as well. We'll celebrate the Rangers win all morning. I know we're going to talk to my mom. She's at the stadium. She's going to be going to the parade when we talk to her. Vanessa's so over the Rangers, by the way. She's so over them. But I'm just shoving them down her throat.
Yeah, she's over sports in general. I mean,
hey, Texas Rangers, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Stars, Dallas Cowboys. I could legitimately say the Cowboys the weakest link there for sure, but I could legitimately say all 4 of those have a pretty good chance.
Well, deep playoff runs, that's where it starts. So,
right.
Hey, amigo, appreciate your time, and thanks for coming on, and we'll try to do it again next week as we preview the playoffs.
I got your World Series hat in my car.
Sweet. I got you an espresso machine. No. Take care, John.
See ya.
He's John Matthews from 95.5 The Coyote. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Lawdog. This is the Western Oklahoma Sports Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back next Thursday.